Alien Royals horrified. We only fought a human recon unit. HFY Stories, best HFY Stories. The twin suns of Zircon 4 burned high in the sky, casting long, sharp shadows across the canyon lands. Dust swirled in small tornadoes over the jagged red rocks, making the terrain look like a painting from another world. In the middle of this harsh landscape, a small group of humans moved carefully, their boots kicking up tiny clouds of sand with every step. Captain Jace Morrow, known as Six Shooter by his old unit back on Earth, led the team. His face was weathered from years on, desert planets and from staring too long at starlit skies. A thin layer of dust coated his brown leather jacket, but his eyes were sharp, scanning every crevice and shadow. "Keep your eyes open," he said in a low voice. His voice carried authority, but there was a faint humor in it, like he had survived too many near-death situations to be worried now. Behind him, Private Carolyn adjusted her scanner. "Captain," she said, squinting at the flickering holographic map in her hand, "there's something up ahead." Not natural terrain. Jace crouched, putting a hand on his holster, though he did not draw it. "Show me." The map projected faint lines in the dusty air. Among the usual canyon twists, there were regular geometric shapes, impossible for nature to form. The shapes glinted with faint light under the suns, suggesting some kind of structure. "Buildings," Jace murmured. "Or something like it. Stay calm." "We're not looking for a fight, just data." The humans crept forward, following narrow ledges that ran along the canyon walls. Below, the canyon opened into a wide valley, hidden from view by jagged rock formations. The structures grew taller as they descended, eventually forming a massive, shimmering palace. Spires reflected the sunlight in strange, vibrant colors, and its walls seemed to hum faintly, almost as if the palace itself were alive. Kara gasped softly. "Is that alive?" "Not alive," Chase said quietly, scanning the air with a handheld device. "It's generating some kind of energy field. Shielding, maybe. Whatever it is, someone's protecting it." The humans froze when motion appeared on the palace balconies. Figures moved with precision, tall, thin, and elegant, with skin that shimmered like liquid silver. Their eyes were large and golden, scanning the horizon. The humans quickly ducked behind a rocky outcrop. "Looks like we found ourselves guests," muttered Corporal Tico, adjusting the strap of his energy rifle. Jace shook his head with a grin. "Not guests. More like royals. Big ones, and we're tiny intruders in their backyard." The humans moved silently, careful to avoid the lighted patrol paths. They were far outmatched in firepower, and Jace knew it. The palace guards were armed with energy weapons far more advanced than anything the humans had, but there was one thing humans always had: ingenuity. "All right," Jace whispered. "We stick to the shadows, gather data, and get out before they know we're here." Hours passed as they sneaked closer. The air grew warmer near the palace, charged with energy from the shields. Jace noticed small drones patrolling above the walls, their sensors scanning the valley like silent hawks. Kara scanned the readings. "Captain," she said, "these drones are advanced, but they move in predictable patterns. I think we can bypass them if we time it right." Jace nodded. "Predictable, yes, but they see farther than we do. Stay sharp." They waited until a drone shifted away, then darted across an open plain to a rocky ridge near the palace's edge. The palace doors were enormous, carved with alien symbols that glowed faintly. The humans crouched behind a boulder, studying the massive entrance. "They're expecting intruders," Jace said. "Or at least they're ready for something, but probably not us. They think anything small like us isn't worth noticing." Kara shook her head. "Do you think they'll attack if they see us? Maybe, maybe not. That's the gamble we take on the frontier." For the next few hours, the humans observed silently. They recorded alien patrol routes, energy shield patterns, and the palace's unusual defense systems. Jace scribbled notes in a small leather-bound notebook, his handwriting messy but readable. Suddenly, a high-pitched alarm echoed across the valley. The humans froze. On the palace balconies, the silver-skinned aliens moved quickly, more urgently than before. Something had triggered their sensors. "Shit," Tico whispered. "Stay calm," Jace said, scanning the sky. "Could be a stray drone. Could be... Could be that they noticed our shadows." A royal figure appeared on the central balcony. The figure's eyes glowed brighter than the rest, radiating a golden intensity that seemed to pierce the distance. Its voice rang out, not loud, but clear, with a resonance that carried over the canyon. "Alert all units. The humans are here." The humans ducked behind the ridge. Jace's mind raced. Not good, he muttered. But still not the end of the line. We've got tricks of our own. Kara tapped her wrist console. Captain, the canyon winds are strong enough to interfere with their sensors for a short while. If we move fast, we can slip closer. Then move, Jace said, quiet as the night. They slipped along the canyon edges, using every shadow and rock formation as cover. The humans were small and light on their feet, able to navigate paths the aliens' heavy armored troops could not. They watched in fascination as the palace shimmered with energy, guards rushing back and forth, drones hovering and zipping like metallic birds. Hours passed, and the humans made careful progress, gathering as much data as possible. Jace noticed patterns in the guards' patrols and whispered instructions to the team, teaching them to blend with the environment like ghosts. Finally, they reached a vantage point atop a narrow spire. From here, they could see the entire palace complex, with gardens floating above pools of glowing liquid, bridges that shimmered as if made of light, and spires that stretched toward the sky. It was more beautiful than anything Jace had seen, yet more dangerous than anything he had faced. We need to get closer, Kara said, but carefully. The readings suggest a control hub inside that palace. If we can get access, we could learn so much. Jace grinned, his eyes glinting in the twin sun's light. Careful is our middle name, kid, but sometimes you gotta be bold to survive. As the humans began their descent toward a hidden canyon entrance leading under the palace, a shadow moved above them. A drone had spotted movement, though it was not immediately clear what it was. Jace froze, then signaled the team to stay perfectly still. The drone hovered for a moment, scanning the rocky spires. Then, seemingly satisfied, it moved away. They still don't know who we are, Jace said quietly. And for now, that's exactly how we like it. The humans pressed on, descending into the canyon that led directly beneath the palace walls. The air grew warmer, tinged with energy. Jace led the team into a narrow passage that twisted beneath the palace, hidden from all patrols and scanners above. They think they're safe, he whispered. They have no idea we're right under their feet. For a moment they paused, catching their breath. Below, the palace hummed with power. Above, the alien royals were likely scrambling to prepare defenses, unaware that the intruders they feared were no larger than shadows in the canyon. Kara tapped her scanner nervously. Captain, they're moving faster than before. I think they're starting to panic. Jace smiled grimly. Good. Let them panic. Makes our job easier. Hours turned into nightfall, and the twin suns sank below the horizon. The canyon glowed faintly from the palace energy above, lighting the humans' path. They moved silently, weaving through the rocky passages, guided by instinct, courage, and a sense of adventure that only humans could possess. By the time they reached the edge of the canyon that opened into the palace's underground gardens, they had gathered enough data to make a difference. Their mission was not to conquer, not to fight. It was to survive, observe, and return. Yet, by their very presence, they had already thrown the alien royals into confusion, setting the stage for a panic that would ripple across the palace. Jace looked back at his team. Tomorrow, he said, we'll see how deep the rabbit hole goes. For now, we rest, and we stay ghosts. As the humans huddled in the shadows, the alien palace above pulsed with light, unaware that a small recon unit had already begun to rewrite the story of the stars. The canyon winds whispered around them, carrying dust and the faint hum of alien energy. Jace looked at the horizon and whispered, almost to himself, out here, in the edge of human space, anything is possible. And with that, the team settled into the night, ready for the next day of adventure, danger, and discovery. The twin suns had set, leaving the canyon in deep shadow. Only the faint hum of the alien palace above lit the rocks with a soft, otherworldly glow. Captain Jace Morrow and his small recon unit had found a hidden nook in the canyon, just wide enough to hide from the patrols above. They're moving faster tonight, Kara whispered, checking her wrist scanner. I think they know something is down here, but they don't know what. Jace leaned against a jagged rock, brushing dust off his jacket. Good. Let them think. Let them panic. Confused enemies are easier to read than calm ones. He paused. The key is patience. We wait for the right moment to act. Corporal Tico's eyes glinted as he peered toward the faint glow above. Captain, it feels like the whole palace is on edge. I've never seen anyone move so nervous. Are aliens supposed to panic like this? Jay smiled faintly. Apparently. Especially when they think a whole human army is coming. The humans had no illusions about their size or strength. Their weapons were small, experimental, and improvised. But that was exactly the advantage. The aliens didn't know what to expect. They thought this was a full invasion, but in reality, it was just a small, clever recon unit. Above, in the central throne hall, the Xylari royal family convened. The queen, a tall figure with skin that shimmered silver in the dim light, sat at the center. Her golden eyes flicked across a large holographic display showing the canyon below. Around her stood generals, advisors, and guards, all tense and alert. "The humans are here," the queen said, her voice calm but edged with steel. "All of you report." "How many? How strong?" "What do they want?" One of the generals, thin and sharp-eyed, bowed. "Your Majesty, sensors suggest multiple forces, possibly hundreds of units. They move with advanced tactics, attacking from shadows. If this is a full invasion, we are in grave danger." The queen's eyes narrowed. "If this is only a recon unit, how can it wreak such havoc? Tell me, Advisor Lyra, what do you see?" The royal advisor's lips pressed into a thin line. "Your Majesty, we have never seen creatures this small display this much cunning.
Their movements are unpredictable.
Their traps are invisible until they strike. I fear," he hesitated, "that if this is only a scout team, the main force would destroy us." A ripple of panic ran through the council. Guards glanced at one another nervously. The queen's jaw tightened, but she forced herself to remain composed. "Then we must act. We will mobilize the palace guard, reinforce the walls, and double the drone patrols. Find the intruders." Back in the canyon, the humans watched and listened to a stolen frequency scanner. Kara tapped the device, her face pale but excited. "Captain, they're panicking. They think we're an army. But it's just us." Jace chuckled quietly. "Exactly. And that's how it should be. They'll overreact, waste resources, and give us an advantage without even knowing it." The humans decided to move deeper into the canyon. Their goal was to reach an entrance to the palace's underground gardens. If they could get data from the gardens, they could map the palace's interior and gain valuable information. The canyon paths narrowed, forcing the team to move single file. The rocks glowed faintly from bioluminescent minerals, and the faint hum of the palace shield reverberated through the walls. Suddenly, Tico froze. "Movement! Up there!" A drone hovered silently over the canyon edge. Its metal body reflected the soft light, and its sensors scanned below. Kara held her breath, readying a small EMP device they had rigged.
"Wait," Jace said. "We don't need to attack it yet."
"Let it pass. We're shadows, not soldiers." The drone moved on, and the humans exhaled quietly. Jace shook his head. "These things are advanced but predictable, just like the Xylari themselves. Stick to the plan, and nothing can stop us." They continued down the canyon until they reached a narrow archway that led to a hidden underground path. Inside, glowing mushrooms and crystalline formations lit the way. The air smelled faintly metallic, humming with energy. "This place, it's like a garden under the palace," Kara whispered, awe in her voice. "It's beautiful." Jace nodded. "And dangerous. Remember, we're here to observe, not to touch anything unless we have to." They moved carefully, following the twisting tunnels until they reached a massive chamber, filled with plants that glowed in green and blue. The walls shimmered with alien energy, and above bridges of light connected different sections of the garden. "Data point?" Kara said, taking out a small scanning device. "If we can record this, it could tell us how the palace shield works. That's worth more than a dozen battles." As she scanned, Jace noticed a faint vibration in the ground. "Incoming," he said, crouching. "Guards. Or something bigger." Through a small slit in the tunnel wall, they saw Xylari guards moving in formation, searching the lower chambers. They were cautious, scanning every nook and cranny, but clearly nervous. "They're panicking more than usual," Kara said quietly. "I think they don't understand us at all." Jace smiled. "Good. Confusion is our ally. Let them waste energy on fear. We're shadows in their palace." The humans moved swiftly but silently, avoiding patrols and gathering data as they went. At one point they passed beneath a glowing bridge, and Tico dropped a small reflector, making a shadow move along the wall. The guards turned, startled, thinking it was another human unit. "They think we're more than we are," Jace muttered. "Perfect." Hours passed as the humans moved through the underground gardens. They recorded plant structures, energy flows, and weak points in the shield. Each observation added to the picture of the palace, giving them a clear edge without firing a single shot. Meanwhile, above, the Xylari royal family was in a frenzy. Drones buzzed over the canyon, patrols doubled, and generals argued over strategy. Every shadow made them tense. Every small disruption seemed like a massive attack. The Queen's eyes glowed brighter as she looked at the map. If this is only a recon unit, we are in greater danger than we realized. Every move they make weakens our position. We must act carefully. Her advisor bowed. Yes, Your Majesty, but I fear caution alone cannot save us. These humans, they are unlike any enemies we have faced. Back in the gardens, Kara paused to examine a glowing flower. She carefully touched the scanning pad to it, and data flowed into her device. Captain, this flower's energy is feeding the shield. If we map enough of this, we could... She hesitated. We could understand how to bypass it. Jace nodded. Exactly. But remember, they are still looking for us. Every second counts. A faint rumble shook the chamber. The humans froze. Above them, a patrol had found a loose tunnel entry and was investigating. Jace whispered, "Move, Shadows. Let's give them another ghost story to talk about for generations." They slipped through hidden passages, narrowly avoiding the patrols. Every move they made added to the alien paranoia. Guards fell for decoys, drones misread shadows, and the royals became more convinced that a full human army had invaded their palace. Finally, the humans reached a high vantage point inside the gardens. From here, they could see the palace interior, guards moving, drones scanning, and the royal family in council. Kara's eyes widened. "Captain, this is incredible. We have everything we need. We should go back before they realize how small we are." Jace looked at the glowing city above and nodded. "Yes, we've done enough for one night. But remember, they don't know it. They think we are dozens of units, and that, my friends, is the advantage of being underestimated." As they began their ascent back toward the canyon exit, the humans left traces of mischief behind. Small disturbances, moving shadows, and lights that made the royals think the humans were everywhere. Panic rippled across the palace, but none of it touched the small team making their escape. Above, the Queen and her advisors stared at the canyon below. "They are clever," she said quietly, almost in awe. "And dangerous," her golden eyes glowed as she added. "If this is only a recon unit, what horrors await when the full human force arrives?" And with that, the humans, unseen and unheard, slipped back into the shadows, leaving the Xylari royals horrified and baffled. Captain Jace Morrow led his team through the canyon, smiling faintly. "Another day in the frontier," he said. "And the humans are just getting started." The next morning, the twin suns rose slowly over the jagged canyon edges, painting the desert rocks in gold and crimson. Captain Jace Morrow rubbed the dust from his face and stretched his tired muscles. The humans had survived the first night, gathered critical data, and now the real work began, using every advantage they had to stay ahead of the Xylari. "Morning, Captain," Kara said, scanning the horizon. "They're moving fast today. Patrols are doubling and drones are everywhere." Jace grinned, brushing sand off his leather jacket. "Good. Let them move fast. Every mistake they make is a chance for us." Corporal Tico adjusted his improvised rifle. "Captain, what's the plan? We can't just hide forever." Jace studied the distant palace, the shimmering spires gleaming under the morning suns. "We don't hide. We move smart. Today we make them overthink everything we do. Humans are clever, and these royals, they're going to learn that the hard way." The team moved quietly along the canyon, using narrow ledges and natural rock formations as cover. Their path led them past strange, glowing flora that seemed to pulse with energy. Kara paused, scanning a cluster of plants. "Captain, these creatures aren't just plants. They react to movement and energy," she whispered. Jace crouched beside her, examining the readings. "Interesting. If we can use them, they could become allies." The humans approached one of the canyon's deeper valleys. Here they found creatures native to the planet, small, nimble, almost horse-like, with 3 legs and luminous eyes. They were wild and cautious, but when offered food and calm gestures, the creatures accepted the humans. "They're fast, strong, perfect for scouts and quick travel," Tico said, patting one of the creatures. Jace smiled. "Then let's make the Xylari chase ghosts. We ride smart, strike where they least expect, and disappear before they know what hit them." Using the creatures as mounts, the humans moved along narrow canyon paths that the alien guards could not follow. The creatures' glowing eyes helped them see in the dim light, and their speed allowed the humans to cover large areas without being detected. Meanwhile, in the palace, the Xylari royal family convened again. The Queen's golden eyes glowed as she scanned the reports. "Where are they?" she demanded. The humans should have been caught by now. Every patrol reports shadows, disturbances, but nothing concrete. Her advisor, Lyra, bowed slightly. Your Majesty, they are elusive. They move faster than expected, almost as if the desert itself guides them. It is unnatural. The Queen's hands clenched. Unnatural or not, we cannot allow this. Increase patrols. Use the drones. Surround the valley. Let nothing escape. Back in the canyon, the humans used their new allies to create confusion. Small reflective devices were tied to the creatures' tails, casting moving lights across the canyon walls. Drones above misinterpreted the flashes as multiple human units. Guards ran to investigate, only to find shadows and empty rocks. Looks like they think there are hundreds of us, Carl whispered.
Exactly, Jace said. We're small.
They think we're an army. And the best part? They don't know it. As the day progressed, the humans reached a strategic point overlooking one of the palace's main energy pylons. Kara set up a small device to measure energy flow, recording patterns of the shield. This could tell us how to bypass it if needed, she said. We could map weak points without touching anything. Jace nodded. And we'll do it without a single shot fired. That's how humans win, brains before brawn. From the palace above, the Xylari scrambled to understand what was happening. Generals argued over strategy, and patrols rushed across the canyon, trying to anticipate human movements. Every disruption caused panic. Drones swooped into the wrong valleys, guards chased phantom intruders, and the royal family became increasingly alarmed. They are clever, the Queen said quietly. And unpredictable. If this is only a recon unit, we are in more danger than I imagined. Her advisor whispered, Your Majesty, they are humans. Small, fragile, yet they are terrifying. Even our elite forces are no match for their ingenuity. Below, Jace and his team continued their work. They mapped the energy flows, studied the palace guards, and left small disturbances that would mislead the aliens. At one point, they tied small reflective mirrors to native creatures, creating moving lights across the canyon. The Zizilari guards, convinced they faced dozens of units, rushed to intercept phantom targets. This is working better than I hoped, Tico said, grinning. Jace shook his head, smiling. It's simple. Confuse, observe, adapt. Humans have always done more with less. And these royals, they're learning that the hard way. As the sun began to dip, casting long shadows over the canyon, the humans set up a small observation post near a cliff edge. From here, they could see the palace interior, the guards moving in confusion, and drones buzzing over the valley. Captain, Kara said, they're panicking more than ever. They don't know where we are, or how many of us there are. Jace nodded. Let them panic. It's our weapon. They're counting shadows instead of thinking. Suddenly, a low hum resonated through the valley. Jace froze, motioning for silence. A massive alien energy shield pulse surged from the palace, scanning the canyon below. Guards and drones moved instantly, responding to the disturbance. They're narrowing down our location, Kara whispered. Not quite, Jace said. They see us as more than we are. That's perfect. Let them waste resources. Move quietly. Shadows never leave tracks. The humans moved with the creatures along hidden paths, creating a trail of disturbances that would mislead the aliens for hours. Drones swooped into false positions, chasing illusions. Guards followed shadows that were nothing more than reflections and clever tricks. Inside the palace, panic had reached a peak. Reports flooded in. Shadows moving across walls, energy spikes in empty chambers, and strange noises that seemed to come from nowhere. They are everywhere, a general said nervously. We cannot contain them. The Queen's golden eyes glowed with alarm. If this is only a recon unit, what force do we face next? How can humans achieve this with such small numbers? Her advisor bowed. Your Majesty. They are not just strong. They are clever beyond our understanding. Even our most advanced units are falling for illusions. We must rethink our strategy entirely. Meanwhile, the humans reached a canyon ridge overlooking a hidden service tunnel leading into the palace's inner chambers. This tunnel was lightly guarded, primarily by drones, but it provided access to critical areas of the palace without direct confrontation. This is it, Jace whispered. We get more data from inside, and then we vanish. They'll never know what hit them. Kara activated her scanning device, recording energy flows, troop movements, and shield frequencies. Tico adjusted his reflector devices, projecting moving lights into nearby chambers, further confusing any nearby patrols. Look at that, Tico said quietly. They're chasing shadows again. It's almost too easy, Jace chuckled. It's never too easy. We respect the enemy, but we don't fear them. That's the difference. Hours passed as they worked quickly and efficiently. Every observation, every small trick added to their advantage. By the time the twin suns fully set, the humans had gathered all the information they needed. As they began to retreat, Kara glanced back at the palace. "Captain, look at them. They're in chaos." Jace nodded. "And they think it's an army. That's the beauty of humans, small, underestimated, and capable of making giants stumble." The humans mounted their native creatures and rode swiftly along hidden canyon paths, leaving trails of reflection devices and small disturbances behind. Guards ran to investigate. Drones buzzed frantically, but the humans were gone, shadows swallowed by the canyon. Inside the palace, the Xylari royal family convened once more. The queen's golden eyes glowed with frustration and awe. "They are clever, faster than we anticipated," she said quietly. "And yet they are small, fragile creatures." "If this is only a recon unit, what horrors await when a full human force arrives?" Her advisor bowed, voice tense. "Your Majesty, the humans do not fight like we expect. They do not rely on strength alone. Their minds are weapons." Back in the canyon, Jace led his team to a hidden cave for the night. The team dismounted, brushing dust off their clothes and checking their equipment. "Another day," Jace said, smiling faintly. "We've taught them lessons they'll remember. And the humans are just getting started." As night fell over Zycon 4, the twin moons rose above the canyon, casting silver light on the rocks. The humans huddled quietly, preparing for the next stage of their mission. The Zizalari, meanwhile, were horrified by what they thought they had already faced, unsure if the next day would bring even greater surprises. The desert wind whispered through the canyon, carrying dust, the hum of alien energy, and the quiet confidence of humans who had learned to thrive at the very edge of the frontier. The desert air of Zircon 4 burned bright under the twin suns, painting the jagged canyon walls in shades of red and gold. Captain Jace Morrow squinted toward the distant spires of the Xylari Palace. From their vantage point high on a rocky ridge, the humans could see the alien patrols moving below like ants across the valley floor. "They're getting desperate," Jace said, brushing dust off his jacket. "Look at how they're running around. Shadows and noises they think were hundreds strong." Private Carolyn studied her scanner carefully. "Captain, their patrol patterns are all over the place. They're overcompensating." "If we're clever, we can use that." Jace grinned. "Clever is our middle name. Humans survive because we think fast, act faster, and use whatever's around us." Corporal Tico adjusted his improvised rifle. "Captain, I say we make them really scared. We could, mess with their drones." "Exactly," Jace said, "but subtle. Small moves, big confusion. That's the human way." The team crept along narrow ledges that ran along the canyon walls, moving closer to the palace's lower gardens. The rocks glowed faintly with bioluminescent minerals, casting eerie patterns on the walls. Kara paused to scan a group of glowing flowers. "Captain, these plants respond to energy," she whispered. "They move slightly when something approaches." Jace looked closer. "Could be useful. Maybe not just for data, maybe for tricks." The humans continued, their steps silent against the rough stone. In the valley below, small creatures native to the planet scuttled across the rocks. They were horse-sized, three-legged, and fast, with luminous eyes that reflected the suns above. The humans approached slowly, offering small rations of dried meat and careful gestures. The creatures sniffed and studied them, then surprisingly accepted their presence. Tico gave a quiet laugh. "Looks like we got ourselves some allies." Jace nodded. "Good. Fast, strong, and smarter than they look. Let's ride." Mounting the creatures, the humans moved along narrow canyon paths too small and twisting for alien guards to follow. Their speed gave them a huge advantage. Meanwhile, the Xylari above were growing increasingly frantic. The Queen's golden eyes flicked across reports from drones and guards. "Where are they?" she demanded. "They should have been caught hours ago. Every shadow, every disturbance, nothing is concrete." Advisor Lyra bowed. "Your Majesty, they are elusive. Their movements unpredictable. Almost like the canyon itself is guiding them." The Queen's lips pressed tight. Elusive or not, they cannot continue unchecked. Increase patrols. Double drones. Nothing escapes. Meanwhile, the humans were putting their ingenuity to work. Jace led them along a hidden ledge and stopped near a small ridge overlooking the palace's energy pylons. "Kara, can you measure the shield's energy flow from here?" Kara carefully set up her scanner. "If we record this, we can understand weak points without touching anything," Jace smiled. "Brains before brawn. That's how humans win." Below, Xylari guards rushed across the canyon. trying to anticipate human movement. Drones hovered overhead, scanning for intruders. Every small sound the humans made, dust sliding from a ledge, rocks clicking, was amplified in the palace reports. "They think we're more than we are," Kara whispered. "Exactly," Jace said. "And that's why humans are dangerous. Small, underestimated, yet always full of surprises." The team pressed forward, using their alien mounts to navigate hidden paths. They tied small reflective devices to the creatures' tails. These mirrors caught sunlight and the faint glow of the palace, sending moving lights across canyon walls. Above, the Zilari guards jumped at every reflection. Drones adjusted their flight paths and generals yelled orders that were impossible to fulfill. The royals were convinced they faced a massive human force, though in reality it was just a small recon unit creating illusions. Hours passed. Kara recorded shield patterns and troop movements while Tico positioned small devices to make it appear that more humans were moving through the canyon. Every trick worked. Every misstep by the aliens reinforced the humans' invisible power. "They're panicking," Tico said quietly. "This is insane, and it's all us." Jay shook his head with a grin. "It's always been this way. Humans survive by using what they have, and making the enemy overthink. And these royals? They're doing all the work for us." As the suns dipped toward the horizon, the humans reached the hidden gardens under the palace. Bioluminescent plants shimmered like stars, bridges of light arched across pools of glowing liquid. The air was thick with energy, humming faintly. "This is incredible," Kara whispered. "We could map everything from here." Jace nodded. "Do it, but quietly. They're still hunting us, and every second counts." Suddenly, a low vibration ran through the canyon. Drones above were narrowing in, scanning the paths more intensely. "They're coming this way," Kara whispered. "Not quite," Jace said. "They see more than we are. That's our advantage. Move quietly. To stay shadows." The humans continued through twisting paths beneath the palace. Each small trick left confusion in its wake. Mirrored lights, moving shadows, and noise decoys. Patrols ran to false targets. Drones swooped to investigate, and the royals' frustration grew. Inside the palace, the queen's golden eyes glowed with worry. "They are clever." Fast and small. "How can creatures like this create such havoc?" Her advisor Lyra bowed. "Your Majesty, they are not just strong, they are cunning. Even our elite units are falling for illusions. If this is only a recon unit, the real humans would be unstoppable." Below, the humans reached a service tunnel leading toward the palace's inner chambers. Kara scanned the energy flows, mapping shields and weak points. Tico used mirrors and small sound devices to create phantom movements. "Look at them," Tico said quietly. "Chasing shadows again. This is working too well." Jace smiled. "Perfect. They think we are everywhere. They cannot see what we actually are. That's the human way. Small but smart, underestimated but unstoppable." As night fell, the humans mounted their creatures again. They retraced hidden paths along the canyon, leaving trails of mirrors and subtle disturbances. Guards ran toward illusions, drones investigated false movements, and the royals watched reports in growing horror. "They are everywhere," a general shouted. "Nothing makes sense." The queen's golden eyes glimmered. "If this is only a recon unit, what horrors await a full human force?" Back in the canyon, Jace led his team to a hidden cave for the night. The creatures rested nearby, alert but calm. The humans cleaned their gear and recorded their final observations. "Another day in the frontier," Jace said, looking at the glowing moons above. "We've taught them lessons they'll remember, and humans are just getting started." The canyon winds carried dust, the faint hum of the palace energy, and the quiet confidence of humans who thrived at the edge of the unknown. The Zilari, meanwhile, remained horrified by what they believed they had already faced, unaware that the tiny recon unit had caused chaos with cleverness, courage, and ingenuity. As the humans settled in for the night, the palace above remained restless, guards and drones still chasing shadows, and the royals were left to wonder, how could creatures so small outwit an entire empire? Jace looked at his team, smiling faintly. "Tomorrow we take the next step, and if the royals think they've seen everything, they haven't seen anything yet." The humans slept under the twin moons, ready for the next day of strategy, clever tricks, and adventure. They had proven one thing clearly: even small humans could outthink giants, and the Zilari were only beginning to understand that truth.